You're listening to Surrey Hills AM. Sensible chat for sensible folks. I'm your host, James Hamilton, and this is Free Talk. If you've just joined us, we're discussing life in the country as it stands today. Prime Minister John Major, on the heels of his Back to Basics campaign launch, has put forward the notion that the British public is fed up with many aspects of society. It's been a lively debate so far, but we still have a few more people on the line to hear from this morning. So, let's hop back in. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Hi, James. I'm a married mother of two, and I can't believe the things that I hear about every day. This country is going to the dogs. It wasn't like this when I was growing up. My husband, he strongly agrees with me. Could you imagine this lot standing up to the Jerrys in the war? I reckon they've soon as joined them as they would fight them. No respect for the country, no respect for the Queen or anything that makes Britain British. Hoodlums, the lot of them.
Oh dear, that sounds dreadful. Do you have a lot of problems with that sort of behaviour in your own community?
Thankfully, it's still a lovely village where people are decent and respectful. But I see it on the news, and I read it in the papers all the time. Unemployed layabouts complaining that there's no jobs, as if. I tell you, if they wanted to work, they'd work. Calling good, decent people racist and all sorts for having a bit of common sense. Soft and stupid, the lot of them.
Well, thank you for your words. Next caller, please.
Hello, James. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Can I ask the people listening today when they're going to wake up and do something about the foreigner problem? Everywhere I look, there's more Indians, Africans and all sorts taking jobs and houses for proper British people.
And is this a big problem in your community?
Yeah, absolutely. There's this one Indian family that moved into the village a couple of months back. This is a nice place to live, but there's people coming and going all the time now, and this is how it always starts, innit? They send one lot in to test the waters, and next thing you know, you're neck deep in curry and rubbish and who knows what.
Okay, moving on.
I'd just like to say that all these young people have no idea what it means to be a decent person. I have no idea what the teachers are telling them, but you hear how they talk about the country, and your hair would turn white. I ask you, how are we meant to go out shopping and do normal things with thugs walking around with their scruffy clothes and stupid hairstyles?
That's an interesting point you have there. I notice you talked about the teacher's influence, but what of the parents?
Well, they're no better themselves. Every other one is a teenage single mother, and even the good people can't watch their children 24 hours a day. The teachers have to take them in hand. It all went to pot when they stopped caning them in school. A swift hiding will sort out half the problems we have overnight.
Just to go back to my question, you think parents are powerless?
Well, I wouldn't say that exactly, but the schools have got to do more. All this touchy-feely nonsense, it just has to stop. There has to be punishment. It never did me any harm, and it set me on the straight and narrow, as I'm sure it did for most people listening.
Well, we have a little more time, as you're the last person on the line currently. What do you think is the answer?
Look, I see it on the television. I've heard about the acid parties and the drugs raids on the news. Now, I'm not going to blame it all on foreigners, like that last gentleman, even though they are a big part of it. It's these stupid lefty politicians who got in the way of Maggie Thatcher. She knew what was what. You must punish the criminals and you must correct the children. Otherwise, you're left with adults who are at best good for nothing and at worst monsters. Morsels were good things, to my mind, but if I'm being completely honest, I don't think they went far enough. You need to get to them early, and you need to send them off to something like a boarding school and get them educated right. I don't just mean maths and grammar. They need a solid social founding, learning responsibility and loyalty. I look at these youngsters and I don't have any hope for the future. They're going to vote Labour or whatever the most communist party they can get their grubby little mitts on, because they tell them life will be easier. That way, nothing is their fault. Well, it is. And they need to deal with it like grown-ups, not flittering their lives with drugs and other nastiness.
Am I understanding you properly? Your solution is that children should be taken away from their parents and raised by the state?
I wouldn't put it like that. Like you make it sound like the Soviet Union. But if someone is showing signs they're not behaving right, that they're criminals in the making, or have low morals, then someone needs to step in. Because the parents and the teachers have obviously failed. I've heard good things about the Atavist Foundation and what they're trying to do, and I strongly suggest that anyone whose child is showing signs that they're going down the wrong route, they should get in touch with them. Get them fixed. Let them learn that their lives are supposed to be lived for God, country, and community.
Well, that's all the time we have for now. Thank you all for your contributions. This was a lively and thought-provoking discussion. We'll return after the break.